Today I'm going to show you how to make these gluten-free Coronation Chicken Pies. These are perfect for picnics or if you're celebrating the Jubilee weekend with a street party. Now first of all, you're going to need to make my gluten-free shortcrust pastry. Gluten-free pastry is not as hard as you might think. So the first thing we're going to do is add some plain gluten-free flour to a bowl, and then I'm going to add in 2 teaspoons of xanthan gum. Now this really helps with the texture of the pastry. It makes it nice and easy to knead it and mold it just how you want it. Give this a good stir, and then we're going to add in our cubes of cold butter. It's really important that your butter is as cold as possible, and if you're making this on a hot day, sometimes I find it helps to run your hands under cold water first, because we're going to want to rub this together with our fingertips. Now you want it to create like a breadcrumb like consistency. This will take a couple of minutes, and if it is a really hot day, you might find the butter starts to melt and get sticky. You can do this in a food processor if you like, but I've always done it by hand. The next thing you want to do is put that bowl to one side once you've got your breadcrumb like consistency in the mix, and crack 2 eggs into a bowl. Now whisk this up with 2 teaspoons of cold water. You want ice cold water, as cold as you can possibly get it. Beat this together until it's just combined, and then I'm going to pour this into my pastry mix. Now this is how you create your pastry dough. So start off using a fork to kind of bring the mixture together, and it will start to get quite sticky and clumpy. And when it gets to the point where it's too difficult to do this with a fork anymore, scrape the dough off the fork and get in there with your hands. Now this isn't like normal pastry where you're scared of overworking it, because that is all to do with gluten, and we don't have any gluten in this, so it doesn't matter. So knead it until it forms a nice dough. You want it to be slightly sticky, but you want it to be kind of smooth and coming away from the edge of the bowl like this. And now for the really important part. You want to chill your pastry. Now if it's a hot day, you might need to do this for an hour. If it's a cooler day, you can probably get away with less time, but you need the pastry to chill, otherwise when you try and roll it out, it's going to be sticky and messy and just an absolute nightmare to work with. So while the pastry is chilling, we're going to make the filling for our Coronation Chicken Pies. Now I've used some cubes of cooked chicken breasts. You can cook the chicken for this, you can use pre-cooked, or you can use your leftovers from a Sunday roast. And I've added some mild curry powder, some mango chutney and some sour cream. And then I'm simply going to mix these together until we've got a nice mixture like this. Now normally Coronation Chicken in sandwiches would use mayonnaise, but I don't want to use mayo in a pie that I'm going to cook, so the sour cream works just as well. And then once your pastry is out of the fridge, it's time to roll it out. So knead it until it's workable on a well-floured work surface, or if it's a really hot day, you can roll it between 2 bits of cling film instead. And then I'm going to roll it out to about 4mm thick and cut out my small circles. You want the holes to be a little bit bigger than the holes in your muffin tin. And then I'm going to use a ball of pastry dough to just press it down into the tin. Now this will stop your pastry from ripping, but if it does rip, don't worry, you can simply patch it up with a little bit of extra pastry. Once you've rolled out as many circles as you can from that bit of pastry, feel free to re-roll it and cut out the rest of your circles. This kind of gluten-free pastry is really forgiving. You can re-roll it as many times as you need to, and you don't have to worry about it going wrong. If you do find the pastry starts to dry out a little bit, then simply wet your hands and roll it out again. And then once I've got all the little pie dishes in here, I'm going to prick them with a fork in the base and then fill each one up with the Coronation Chicken mixture up until the rim. And then once that's done, I'm going to re-roll the pastry again and cut out some slightly smaller circles for the pie lids. Once you've got your pie lids, simply brush the edges of the pies with some beaten egg and then stick your pastry lids down on top. Once all of them are stuck down, prick the tops with a fork just to let the steam escape, and then brush them with beaten egg. And then I'm sprinkling mine with a little bit of Nigella seeds. You don't have to do this, but I think it adds a really nice taste and texture and look to the pies. Bake the pies and then they'll come out of the oven lovely and crisp and golden like this. Now once they've cooled slightly, you can remove them from the tin. You can eat them warm, you can put them in the fridge and eat them cold. You can even freeze them and get them out again when you want them later. Now all the full written recipe is in the description below this video. I really hope you enjoyed this recipe. Let me know if you give these pies a go, and make sure you hit subscribe for more gluten-free recipes like this. Happy baking!